for another day. If you haven't heard me yet, listen up, because I'm talking directly to you. All you people out there in tubular black facts land. That's right. We've changed the name of our YouTube channel to Tubular Black Facts. And we're coming at you live and direct. Hopefully you can see us and hear us. Lordy, 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 lordy. So, let's start off with our usual. If you like what you're hearing, make sure you're cheering by giving us a like. If you like what you are hearing, do some more cheering. Give us a thumbs up. If you like what you're hearing, you're seeing, and what you're hearing, go ahead and subscribe below. There's a button. If you don't see it now, you'll see it at the end. Bam. Hit the subscribe button. It'll be right there in the middle. I have my face on it. Just click on that. You'll see it pop up at the end. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and continue on with the needful before we start sounding real pleadful. Proverb for today. Well, here's an interesting one here. A cow gave birth to a fire. She wanted to lick it, but it burned. She wanted to leave it, but she could not because it was her own child. A cow gave birth to a fire. She wanted to lick it, but it burned. She wanted to leave it, but she couldn't because it was her own child. And that is a proverb from the country of, let's see, a very unusual proverb there about a cow giving birth to a fire. Oh, and where would it be from? But Ethiopia, which is where we're going to be going in just a minute. Now, usually, in the past, we had always had a poetry segment, and we had left out the poetry segment because we were so focused on trying to get our equipment problem solved that we just left poetry out altogether. So we're coming black in with poetry today. Today, March 17, marks the 65th anniversary of my parents' marriage. That's right, they were married just about 65 years. As you all may know, my father passed away, bless his soul, 1 month ago, a little more than a month ago and a week ago today. 1 month and a week ago today. And yeah, so we miss him dearly. And so today I've got here an anthology of Swahili love poetry. Let's see what the Swahili have to say about love. Yeah. See. Okay. We're going to read it in Kiswahili, and we're going to read it in English. Let's see. See if I can find a good one. Looking for one short. Yes. All right, so here it is here. Daima dawamu, wewe nakupenda kupenda kutamu. Naunga kuponda. Daima daima dawamu, wewe nakupenda kupenda kutamu. Naunga kuponda. And what does that mean? Eternally, forever, I love you. It is sweet to love and to pound mealy meal. Okay? It is eternally, forever, I love you. It is sweet to love and to pound mealy meal. And mealy meal is kind of like oatmeal. And that's what Dad loved to eat. Oatmeal every day. Right around now, he'd be upstairs getting him some oatmeal that Mom would cook, and at the same time, on his what do you call it? on his niche over there at the Veterans Memorial Cemetery, the inscription reads, "He is an eternal work creator." He is an eternal work creator, which is kind of a poem or a proverb all by itself because his initials were R. E.W.C. Edward W. Crosby. So I figured that one is good for him. Right, that one is perfect for him and for mom. Okay, yeah. And then it has a intro to it that I did not read, but I'll read it too. This is one of the songs that can be sung by both women and men. The lover, girl or man, begins by saying that he or she will not switch to another object for his or her love. The oath formula at the end of the second stanza is a common one, based on the Quran. Kafa Allahu Shahida. God suffices as witness. The partner is reassured that the lover's intentions are honorable. The poet knows that girls prefer marriage to anything else in the world, as the poet says, Daima dawamu, wewe na kupenda kutamu, na unga kuponda. And there we go. Kiswahili love poem for you today. Yeah, that's something we haven't done before. We never read from that book before. We've had that book for years. First time I've ever read a poem from it. And I think it's appropriate that it was on March 17, 2021, the day of my parents' 65th wedding anniversary. By the way, they courted for 10 years before they married. So technically, they were together for 75 out of their 88 years. So that means they met each other when they were about 13 years old. Yeah, that's a long time. When you start thinking about your relationships and how long they last today, 75 years, that's quite a while. So chapter 3, returning to our story, a Ethiopian revolt, right? Yeah. Wait a minute, wrong story. Whoops, there we go. Here we go. All right, now we're in there. Okay, returning to our story, an Ethiopian revolt in Ethiopia, or a black insurrection. Chapter 3. The princess looked up gravely as he came to the table and sat down. Did you get the guns? Did you? She asked, arching her long, thin eyebrows. Someone beat me to him, he said, resuming his seat. You mean they were stolen? Her eyes showed alarm. Exactly. They've disappeared without a trace. Someone evidently entered right after my valet left. She bit her lips slightly and frowned down into her dish. Dick watched her carefully. Well, she said resignedly, we'll certainly need a gun on this point, on this boat. She was plainly worried. Why didn't you bring one? He asked. I did, but I didn't carry it around. I did, but I didn't carry it around with me, and so I just know that it is gone by this time, especially after what happened to John. That was the man who was killed? Yes, he was my most trusted servant. Her voice caught a little as she spoke, and he thought he detected the trace of a tear on her long lashes. Why should they kill him? Asked Dick. Besides, whom do you suspect as the killer? Oh, I don't know. We have so many enemies. So many enemies that she can't even decide on who might have been the killer. Okay, here we go. There's no telling. Do you think the same people stole my guns? Obviously. They thought you were with me. They wanted us to be unarmed. I'm quite sure they rifled my cabin before they attacked John. We might go down and see, he suggested. Yes, she said, smiling, and get shot in the first companionway. They know we're unarmed, but I've got a gun. I've got a gun. Famous last words. I've got a gun. I thought you said your guns were stolen, she complained, though obviously relieved. They were stolen, but I borrowed my valet's pistol. Then he told her about the attractive brunette in Bill's cabin. Her eyes brightened with concern. Yes, they suspect we're working together, she murmured half to herself. But what is it all about? He insisted. Why should they kill your servant and steal my guns? What is your game anyway? Princess, that they consider it so important. He felt her withdraw within her shell, and an almost pleading look came into her eyes. Please don't ask me, she begged. I just cannot tell you. I dare not. But I need your help desperately. I'm all alone now, with no one to help me except you. Me? Well, I must say that I'm not eager to get involved too deeply in anything so dangerous, Princess. I'd like to help you, but after all, I'm just on a pleasure trip. I've never been interested in politics. You don't wish to see Ethiopia free? She challenged, her eyes flashing. You do not wish to see the Italians beaten and driven out? You are unsympathetic with the aspirations of black men? Her face was flushed with excitement. Her voice was cold and accusing. She half rose from her chair. Now that she seemed definitely angered with him, he became alarmed, and his first impulse was to mollify the beautiful creature. Of course I want to see all colored people free. What are you thinking? He replied soothingly. And I'd like nothing better than to see the Italians beaten and driven out of our country. Then why do you say you're not interested in politics? That is politics, because politics is war, fought between two people, not necessarily on a battlefield, but on a battlefield yet and still. And this is dangerous politics. I am a woman. I am willing to risk my life. Why should you hesitate? Now, Princess, don't get melodramatic on me. After all, this isn't my funeral. I didn't come on this trip to fight any wars, and I'm eager to live a lot longer and enjoy myself. Of course, I'm sympathetic with the Ethiopians, but frankly, I can't see how they can win. So why waste time? They can win, she almost hissed. They've already pinned the Italians in the cities and towns. In the countryside, black men control. They can drive out the invaders if supplied with arms and ammunition. He smiled indulgently. Yes, but how are they going to get them? She looked at him a long time, studying him, weighing him. When she spoke, it was with careful deliberation. You are an American, she began, and you have the dash and adventurousness of all Americans, don't you? That pioneering spirit that conquers, that spirit has made our people in America the most progressive Negroes in the world. Oh, I know America. I spent 8 years there. He exclaimed in surprise. Sure, that explained her almost American accented English. I graduated from what? Howard University in 1935, she went on. It was just before the beginning of the end. I have been in the thick of things ever since. Although a woman, I have rendered great services to my country. Now I am about to render a greater service. You must not breathe this to a soul, or it will mean my very life. But I am on a mission now that will make it possible for our eager millions to have arms in their hands and drive the Italians to the sea. I must succeed. You understand? I must not fail. I am surrounded by enemies here and everywhere. I don't know how many. I need help. They have killed my John. Now I'm alone. Won't you help me? It was hard to refuse such a plea, such a plaintive plea at that. And yet Dick Welland did not relish interrupting his leisurely trip. around the world to become involved in what appeared to him to be a dangerous and losing cause in which he might easily lose his life. He still had a clear picture of John DeNeo staggering down the steps into the dining salon with his blood marking his progress. He did not want that to be his fate. He hesitated, his brow knitted in perplexity. You know what I mean? Knitted brow. She was watching him closely with rising impatience. Very well, she snapped, reading his thoughts. Go your way and enjoy yourself while a brave nation bleeds to death. I shall do my duty. Oh, I could have luxury and pleasure too. I have money, plenty of money, but I refuse to have it stand between me and what is right. She rose, and before he could speak, she swept away toward the lift. He hurried after her, as if something important were leaving his life, resolved now to tell her that he would help her. She reached the elevator much before him, hurried in, and evidently told the operator to make haste because the door closed almost in Dick's face. And the car ascended. Undaunted, he raced up the stairs just in time to see her disappearing into her cabin. Women were so impetuous. He growled to himself, shielding his apprehension. Then at that precise moment, he took swift and honest stock of his thoughts and confessed that he was in love. Really? 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 He just met the woman. With the Princess Ettara Zunda. It was foolish, of course, to get mixed up in the Italo-Ethiopian mess. He told himself, how could she possibly put arms into the hands of the Ethiopians? Even when they had arms, he recalled, they'd been unable to stem the tide of invasion. What hope was there to do so now? It would require millions of dollars. You hear me? 1930s dollars. And how would the arms be transported from Europe to Ethiopia? Was there not already a rapprochement between England and Italy, with France willing to make amends? It was utterly silly to think anything concrete could be done to expel the fascists. Then he thought of the beautiful princess, and his resolution was shaken. Maybe it would be smart to find out a little more about the whole business. He could at least go as far as Djibouti. All the time he'd been standing in one place, watching the door of her cabin. Only a few seconds had elapsed since her door slammed shut. He turned to go to his cabin, his thoughts still full of the noble young woman. When he was stopped short by a scream from the direction of her cabin, he whirled, startled, then sprinted down the carpeted hall to her door. There was no sound within. He called anxiously, but there was no reply. He tried the door. To his amazement, it opened easily, although he could have sworn he heard it click as she slammed it shut. He pushed the door open. The cabin was dark. He called again softly, "Princess, princess." There was no reply. He fumbled for the light switch, his hand moving along the wall. Suddenly, both wrists were seized in a steel-like grip, a revolver muzzle shoved against the back of his neck, and he felt the click of handcuffs on his wrist. End of chapter 4. Or beginning of chapter 4, end of chapter 3. We'll carry on some more tomorrow. I think we'll be able to finish that story. It's got a few more chapters left. But we've got 2 more days left, and if we have to, we'll do Saturday and Sunday. And we'll finish off this story because it's just too good, too intriguing to leave half read. I don't think we want to do that now, do we? Meanwhile, let's go ahead and complete this saga by signing off. This is Doc Ock signing off. And on my way out, thank you very much for the time there. On my way out, let me just remind you, if you like what you saw, give us a like. If you like what you heard, give us a thumbs up. And if you like what you see and what you saw and what you heard, excuse me, give us your paw. No, don't give us your paw. Just go ahead and subscribe below. You see the button. Do it while you can. Peace out, y'all. We'll be back tonight at 9 with more stories from Ethiopian folklore. Peace out.